What is today? Today is May the 21st. And this is our Finance Administration Committee and special meeting of the Board of Directors of the West Basin Municipal Water District. So with that, I'd ask our General Manager, E.J. Caldwell, to determine if we have a quorum.
Happy to do so, Mr. Chairman. Director Harold Williams.
Here.
Director and Chair Scott Houston.
Here.
Director Gloria Gray. Director Don Deere.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Public comment. Is there anyone from the public who is wishing to speak? EJ.
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any requests for public comment, though I do notice that we have members of the public that are joining us today. If there's any member of the public that would like to make public comment, now would be the time to do so. Please indicate your desire by raising your virtual hand. We will call on you. And Mr. Chairman, I do not see a request.
Excuse me. Okay, thank you. Item number 4, presentations. We do not have any. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then so number 5 is our action calendar. We'll go to 5A, approval of minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This does begin on packet page 5. It is approval of minutes. And as you can see, we had a number of special board meetings throughout the months of March and April. And for this presentation, we do have Hazel Vasquez, our Deputy Board Secretary.
Good morning, Director Houston, members of the committee and board. If I can turn your attention to packet page 5, as EJ mentioned. So the minutes for the West Basin Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings are an integral part of the public meeting process. Minutes provide a history of the actions taken at board meetings, which is informative not only for members of the public, but for other stakeholders as well. Today, we have a number of minutes for your review and approval. We have March 27th, special board meeting minutes, April 5th, special board meeting minutes, April 6th, special board meeting minutes, April 16th, special board meeting minutes, April 17th, special board meeting minutes, April 22nd, special regular board meeting, and April 27th, board meeting minutes, special board meeting minutes. And with that, I would like to read the recommendation that the board approve the March 27, 2024 special board minutes, April 5th, 2024 special board minutes, April 6th, 2024 special board minutes, April 16th, 2024 special board minutes, April 17th, 2024 special board minutes, April 22nd, 2024 regular board minutes, and April 27, 2024 special board minutes. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
None for me.
Dr. Deere?
No.
Okay. I have no questions either, so I would recommend this goes to the full board for approval.
Me too.
Concurrence, so thank you very much. Next is item 5B as in boy. Consider participation in fiscal year 2023-24 and fiscal year 24-25 community outreach events.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This item does begin on packet page 27. And as you noted in the title, it's worth paying attention as we go through each of these items. Some of these items will be dedicated to this fiscal year's budget. Of course, anything, of course, after July 1 would be in the next fiscal year budget. So we just want to point that out. And for this presentation, we do have Hazel Vasquez again, our Deputy Board Secretary too.
So for this item, if I can turn your attention, as EJ mentioned, to packet page 27. I'll start, I am going to split the two just to make it a little easier to follow. I'll go over the fiscal year 23-24 items first, and then I will cover the fiscal year 24-25 items that we have for your consideration. So for fiscal year 23-24, we do have 2 items before you. The first one is for the Venice Marina LAX Lions Club. They're hosting their annual bingo fundraiser and barbecue dinner on Saturday, June 15th, 2024. At this time, Director Houston would like the board to consider a sponsorship of this event in the amount of $250, which would grant West Basin a district booth/table to distribute district information and protect an advertisement promoting district awareness. West Basin did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the same amount of $250, which also gave us a booth at that time. For additional information regarding the sponsorship request, you can turn to attachment A on packet page 30. The second item for you today is the 10th Council District Women's Steering Committee's annual scholarship fundraiser and luncheon that is being held on Saturday, June 29th, 2024. At this time, Director Gray is requesting consideration for West Basin to participate in the 10th Council District Women's Steering Committee's annual scholarship fundraiser by placing an advertisement in their event souvenir tribute journal for a fee of $175. West Basin last participated as a sponsor of this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $1,500. And at the time, we got an advertisement as well. For additional information regarding this sponsorship request, you can turn your attention to attachment B on packet page 33. And so this is where I mentioned I was going to split it a bit. If I can turn your attention to packet page 28 at the bottom to discuss the fiscal impact for fiscal year 23-24. So as you know, funds for the sponsorship and participation in community outreach events for fiscal year 23-24 are included in the fiscal year 24 community outreach budget in the amount of $75,000. If you approve the sponsorships as requested today, totaling $425, that would leave a remaining budget of $2,175. And you can see additional details for that in attachment C on packet page 40. Did you want to cover those first and then go to fiscal year 24-25, Director Houston?
Well, I think, you know what, why don't we just, let's do this. Are there any questions on those two items? I don't have any questions. Director Williams, any questions on the first two?
No, but I won't be voting in favor.
Can't hear you.
So no, I don't, but I won't be voting in favor of these.
Oh, of these two, the ones from myself and Director Gray?
Yes.
All right, well, let's keep going to the next two.
Back to the bottom of packet page 27. For fiscal year 24-25, I have two items for your consideration today. The first one is for the Downtown Culver City Independence Day celebration that is taking place on Friday, July 5th, 2024. Director Houston is requesting consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event in the amount of $3,000, which would grant West Basin a speaking opportunity for a district representative and a district booth/table to distribute district information. West Basin has not previously sponsored this event, but additional information can be found on packet page 41, which is attachment D. On packet page 28, you can see the second item that I have for your consideration today, which is the Will Gears Theatricum Botanicum. They are hosting their 2024 gala on Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. At this time, Director Houston is requesting consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event in the amount of $2,500, which would grant West Basin an advertisement promoting district awareness. West Basin has previously sponsored this event in fiscal year 23-24 in the amount of $2,500, which at the time also provided an advertisement. For additional information regarding this sponsorship request, you can turn to attachment E on packet page 44. And now for the fiscal impact for fiscal year 24-25. So as you know, we are still going through the cycle for setting the budget for this coming fiscal year. So at this time, funds for the sponsorship of and participation in these community outreach events in fiscal year 24-25 are included in the proposed fiscal year 25 community outreach budget in the amount of $75,000. Approving participation in these events as requested, which total $5,500, would leave a remaining budget of $69,500, and you can see the details on that in attachment F on packet page 47. With that, I'd like to read the recommendation. 1, Director Houston recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Venice Marina LAX Lions Club annual bingo fundraiser and barbecue dinner event scheduled to be held on Saturday, June 15th, 2024 in the amount of $250. 2, Director Gray recommends that the board consider approving participation in the 10th Council District Women's Steering Committee's annual scholarship fundraiser and luncheon event scheduled to be held on Saturday, June 29th, 2024 by placing an advertisement in the Souvenir Tribute Journal for a fee of $175. 3, Director Houston recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of Downtown Culver City's Independence Day celebration event scheduled to be held on Friday, July 5th, 2024, in the amount of $3,000. And number 4, Director Houston recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of Will Gear's Theatricum Botanicum 2024 Gala Echoes in the Forest event scheduled to be held on Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, in the amount of $2,500. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Great, thank you, Hazel. Any questions? William, questions or?
No questions. I just would like to say that I will vote in favor of the whole not moving on this, but taking it to the full council. I mean, not council, but full board.
Very good. Director Deere, any questions? Okay. All right, I have no questions either. And yes, we have supported the Lions Club event a number of times at probably about the same rate. And I do see Director Gray has this other one on here that is happening before the end of the fiscal year as well. So with that, I would be a yes. Director Williams wants to go to the board, so there is no consensus. So it'll go, all 4 of these will go to the action calendar, right, EJ?
That's correct,
Is that?
but it won't have a committee recommendation.
So right. We can talk about it at the board meeting. All right, very well. Item 5C is in cat. Adopt resolution number 05-24-1204. Administrative Code revisions, amending section 3-4.105.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This item does begin on packet page 48. And for this presentation, we do have Allison Tong, our accountant too.
Good afternoon, directors. Just to give you a little background on item 5C, which starts on your packet, page 48. As required, staff must periodically review these policies to update for any changes in federal and/or California labor laws to remain in compliance with Internal Revenue Services codes and regulations to maintain effective policies that govern employment and to ensure best management practices. These amendments have been reviewed by District Councils Best, and Krager. District Council has prepared a resolution included as attachment A. A red line of these changes are included as your packet attachment B, and the updated languages are shown in your attachment C. Staff, it is going to be your chapter 4, general terms and conditions of employment, staffing and compensation, article 1, which is 3-4.105, Fair Labor Standard Act, application overtime, adding clarifying languages regarding the minimum rate of standby/on-call pay per law. Now, if I may have you turn to packet page 54, and I can walk you through some of the changes. Here you see that we added on-call next to standby. So that's why we just want to add that special language. When we say standby, we also need on-call. The next packet page 55, section 2 of A, you'll see we changed it from the amount of 10% of the base hourly rate to the current minimum wage for qualifying hours. Just so you know, the current LA County minimum wage is 16.9. That was effective July 1 of 2023. Coming this July 1 of 2024, it will go up to $17.27. And we did add additional language for callback pay, but that's just adding some clarifying languages as well. And we do want to point out, at the time of the original adoption, which was back in November of 2020, we used the best industry practices of language when we laid out the language here that you saw. But as you know, laws changes and we're updating to make sure we stay in compliance. I'll see for any questions before I read the recommendation.
This, any questions? Director Williams, question?
No, thank you.
Director Deere? Okay, all right, I have no questions either. This is pretty pro forma. So if you'll go ahead and read the recommendation, please.
Thank you. The recommendation is that the board approve, adopt, and authorize the president to sign resolution number 05-24-1204, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the West Basin Municipal Water District, amending the West Basin Municipal Water District Administrative Code 3-4.105.
Okay, very good. Earlier, no questions, so I don't think there's no more questions, correct?
Done here.
With that, I would recommend this moves forward to the board for approval. Recommendation of yes. Director Williams?
I agree.
Very good. Okay, next is 5D, as in dog. Adopt resolution number 05-24-1206, tax and revenue anticipation note for fiscal year 24-25.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item begins on packet page 61. And for this presentation, we have Wendy Nakamura, our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, EJ. Good morning, directors. So please turn to page 61. West Basin have a current commercial paper line credit program. We initiated the program in October 2018, and then we renewed in 2021 for another 3 years. So this program will expire on October 18, 2024. The current limit for borrowing is 30 million. However, we do not have a financial need to borrow money at this point, so the current balance is 0. Because West Basin District does not have authority to issue debt directly for new money purpose. Therefore, any additional money we issued have to go through West Basin Financing Corporation. So the CP line is a new money. Therefore, to keep the CP line alive, West Basin Board had to sign the anticipation notes to guarantee payback to West Basin Financing Corp in the case if we are borrowing any money from the 30 million line credit. So the promising notes only valid for 15 months. The last time the board signed this promising notes is last year in June. So this promise notes will be expired at the end of September 2024. So if the board decided to continue the CP line program, we recommend the board to sign resolution 04-24-1206, which is included in your board package, page 64 to page 71. In addition, on page 62, our financial advisor PFM prepared a good faith estimate by California law, and then we disclosed estimated cost to using the 30 million line credit. So the assuming interest rate as of right now is a 3.95%, plus the 1 year to keep the line open. We have administration fees with the bank. That is about $100,000 a year for that. I just want to mention the CP line is very low fee, and then also providing flexibility for borrowing for West Basin. When you compare issue long-term debt, if we're using issue like 30 million, like for 30 years or 15 years, each year regarding this, if we are using the money or not using the money, we have to pay back the principal and the interest. But with the CP line, we already pay the principal and interest when we borrow. Otherwise, we do not pay anything. So for that to be said, we recommend the board to sign the resolution 05-24-1206. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Director Williams?
See that, read the recommendation again.
The recommendation is the board to approve, adopt, authorize the president to sign resolution number 05/24/1206 to support a commercial paper line program for fiscal year 24-25, authorizing the district to issue a tax and revenue anticipation notes to the West Basin Financial Corporation in the amount of 30 million. That's on page 63.
63?
Yes.
Yeah, see that, all right, thank you.
You have a question?
No questions.
Any questions, Director Gear?
No questions.
Okay, now I think you explained it all pretty thoroughly. And everything's in order, so I would recommend this moves forward to the board with a yes recommendation. Director Williams.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's see here. So we're at item E, correct, EJ?
Correct.
I'll go ahead. Okay, so action calendar, item 5E as an Edward, adopt resolution number 05-24-1207 and by charge resolution of intent.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I should have mentioned before, item D, that this is the time of year that these items come back to the committee and board annually. So I wanted to highlight that. The item before you is to adopt a resolution related to the standby charge resolution of intent. And again, this presentation will be provided by Wendy Nakamura, our Chief Financial Officer, and it does begin on packet page 72.
All right, please turn to page 72. West Basin implemented the standby charge in 1991 to help to pay a portion of data services related to the water recycling program. As the result of a 2022 court settlement, West Basin is required to terminate this program on June 30, 2030. To continue the standby program from now to 2030, a standby process will be done annually. These processes are listed on page 74 of your package, which is including we need to file negative declaration with county. We need the publication of notice, and then the board also need to consider approve the resolution of intent. And then we also needed to publish the public hearing notice on the newspaper. We also need to have a public hearing. And then the last step is for board to adopt the standby charge. West Basin hired a DTA Municipal Solution to complete the engineer report, which is included in your package page 79 to 98. District staff, our district council BBK also reviewed this report already. The rate for FY25 collection are on page 73. For multi-union, we are going to charge $9.60. For the single family, we'll be collecting $14.40 per year. And then for non-residential, we're going to charge $72. Standby charge will generating about $5.8 million for next year budget. If there are no questions, I'll read the recommendation on page 74.
Why don't you read the recommendation, please, and then we'll see if we have any questions.
Okay. So the recommendation is the board approve, adopt, and authorize the president to sign resolution 05-24-1207 to initiate the processing for the establishment of water availability of standby charges for fiscal year starting on July 1, 2024.
Okay, great. Thank you. Questions, Director Williams?
No question, but I would like for this to go forward to the full board without a recommendation, since this is a heavy duty item for us. And a lot of angst stuff concerning this, so I would like to see this go to the full board.
Very good. Director Gear.
No questions.
Excuse me. Let's see, my only question, Wendy, is I believe those who do not want to pay this charge, they have a process, right? For property owners to apply through West Basin to not pay this, isn't that correct?
Yes, so we do have, right now, we identified the total parcel, we can collect these 218,000. Within that, there's a 16 of them is low use. So for low use,
Hmm.
only charge 50% of what we are charging out regularly. And then for the exemptions, right now, currently, we have 42. Yeah, on our record as an exemption.
Okay. Yeah, because, and my understanding really is very few people do go through the process to not pay this fee for various reasons, whatever is their situation, correct?
Yes, there is a process and policy how we handle the exemption.
Yeah. Great. At the end of the day, this isn't anything different than what we've been doing for many years, correct, EJ?
That is correct.
Yeah. Ultimately wind down that standby charge. So with that, Director Williams recommends no recommendation, and so I'll concur with that. We'll just send this to the full board for agenda, and we can discuss it there. All right,
Thank you.
great, and thank you. Item 5F as in Frank. Adopt resolution number 05-24-1208. Administrative code revisions, add conflict of interest policy covering design build projects.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This item does begin on packet page 111. For this presentation, we do have Joanna Garcia Singleton, our contracts administrator too.
Thank you, EJ, and good afternoon, Chairman Houston and members of the committee and board. The district is preparing to proceed with a potential progressive design build solicitation for the upcoming DCS replacement project. Progressive design build refers to a contracting process where an agency hires a single entity at the earliest feasible stage of the project to perform the design, pre-construction, and construction services. The progressive design build delivery method is authorized by the Public Contracting Code and grants cities, counties, and special districts the authority to utilize the progressive design build process for public works contracts exceeding $5 million. Public Contracting Code Section 22171.5 requires agencies engaging in progressive design build contracts to establish guidelines for a standard organizational conflict of interest policy. Currently, the district does not have such policy in place. So to comply with this statutory requirement, staff in coordination with legal counsel has revised the procurement policy to add a conflict of interest policy covering design build project. So now I would like to turn your attention over to packet page 116, where we outline the edits and redline for your review and reference. So first on page 116, you'll note that we just revised the title of the chapter 1 from procurement policy to procurement, just to better organize policy. Next, we added articles to chapter 1, so the general procurement policy is now article 1. We didn't make any changes to the actual procurement policy, so we can move along to page 137, which is so we added the actual conflict of interest policy covering design build projects as article 2,
What page is this one?
137.
137. Okay.
So the first section is 5.1.2, and this section affirms West Basin's stance on potential conflict of interest that may arise when proposers perform work for the district relating to progressive design build and or design build projects, which are collectively known as design build projects. The policy then goes on to state that conflicts of interest can occur when a proposer is unable to render impartial assistance, a proposer's objectivity in performing the contract work is impaired, or a proposer has an unfair competitive advantage. Resolution of conflict of interest issues is ultimately at the sole discretion of the district. The district reserves the right to cancel or amend the contract if a successful proposer fails to disclose a potential conflict, which it knew or should have known about, or if a proposer provides information in response to an inquiry from the district that is false or misleading. After award, conflict of interest guidelines and policies shall continue to be monitored and enforced. If a conflict of interest is discovered after award, the proposer is required to issue an immediate and full disclosure to the district that includes a description of the action and a description of the action that the proposer has taken or proposes to take to avoid or mitigate such conflicts. If a conflict of interest is determined to exist and the proposer is aware of such conflicts prior to award of the contract and did not disclose a conflict, the district may terminate the contract with the proposer for material breach. The last section on page 138 is the approach and outlines the specific criteria and procedures. Potential proposers are prohibited from participating as a design build entity or joining a design build team under various circumstances, such as being the district design consultant, owner's representative or owner's agent, or otherwise providing contractual services on the design build project. If the proposer has performed work on a previous contract that specifically excludes them from participating as a design build entity or joining the design build team. If a proposer is under contract with another entity or stakeholder to perform oversight on the design build project, or if the proposer would violate applicable federal and state conflict of interest rules and regulations by participating as a design build entity. Proposers who may have a potential conflict of interest and wish to participate as a design build entity or join the design build team must adhere to several requirements outlined in the policy, including they must conform to the federal and state conflict of interest rules, such as the California Political Reform Act, the California Government Code 1090, and the federal Copeland Anti-Kickback Act. They also must disclose all relevant facts relating to the interests of the proposer's team, which may result or could be viewed as a conflict. And they must provide all records of the work performed in relation to the project so that all information can be evaluated. Upon review of all the information provided by the entity, the district's general manager will determine if the proposer has a conflict of interest. The general manager's decision may be appealed to the board of directors, and the decision of the board is final. District council has reviewed the conflict of interest policy and has prepared the attached resolution, which is attachment A. Number 05-24-1208 to incorporate the changes into the administrative code. So now I'll read the recommendation. Staff recommends the board of directors to approve resolution 05-24-1208, a resolution of the board of directors of West Basin Municipal Water District, amending the West Basin Municipal Water District Administrative Code to add a conflict of interest policy covering design build projects. And that's it. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Director Deere.
Where did this all come about?
It stemmed from the project itself, so the DCS replacement project, and I have John here, the project manager for that project. He can probably elaborate better on why we decided to choose progressive design build for this particular project, but it has to do with the scope. And John, jump in, please.
Please.
So For the DCS replacement project, that's CIP 10080. We're moving ahead with a progressive design build approach, mostly because the project itself, mostly because the issues we're experiencing that led to the project are escalating in nature. We're having more and more issues over time, so we're choosing an approach that kind of makes the timeline more compact, so that we can replace the system quicker and get back to a state where the system is functioning normally. The progressive design build approach, as we've gone through the development of the procurement documentation, so the contracts, the actual RFP, and all of those things required, we found that there have been a few things missing from our standard documentation that we need to add in. So this conflict of interest policy is one of those, I believe, the most important one that we need to add in so far.
Thank you. John?
Thank you. Director Williams, questions?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is another heavy duty thing here. So I would like for the entire board to weigh in on this. So I would recommend that it goes to the full board, but without a recommendation, so that we can have a long discussion on this if necessary. Thanks.
Hopefully it's not too long, by the way.
Good job.
That meeting. Okay, with that, I want to say thank you for everyone explaining this, and this has been brought to us. Obviously, a lot of this was through legal counsel, right? Vetted through legal counsel, because we've never done something like this before, huh? In the history of the agency.
We did a design build, I believe, in like 2007 for the phase 4 extension at ACL. This is progressive design build, which is a little bit different. And there was a recent legislature effective July 1st, which allows public agencies to enter into progressive design build projects. Align perfectly with this project, and that was the intent of the project, is to follow that model.
Right. So number one, totally understand it. Number two, we're just getting our ducks in a row to do this and be in compliance with the state law.
Exactly.
I guess what I'm assuming in part is, legal counsel, when they're the ones that probably wrote most of this, I take it.
Yes.
And they probably pulled this or utilized that from other agencies or, some sort of a standard format that folks are using. So I don't think you can speak on behalf of legal counsel, but is that probably how this has come to us? Maybe EJ is that
That is
multiple
correct.
agencies are doing this at the moment, and so it's pretty.
Yes, the legislation that she mentioned was some of the 1845, I believe. It was sponsored by Metropolitan Water District, specifically for pure water and moving forward with some of their projects. So this is in alignment with that.
Perfect. And then, I don't even think it's a question, maybe it's a minimal question or comment, but obviously, I suppose once this is in place, when the potential bidder is going to look at participating, they read the rules of the road, right? Based on our policy, and you all put that into the bid package, I assume. So they are very clear on what they're potentially signing up for or getting themselves into, because obviously, there are folks who do business with the district already, although they may or not be the ones to apply to this. And so I guess, one is they're going to be pretty clear on what they're looking at before they submit.
And if I may,
Yeah.
A lot of the organizations we're looking at, we're encouraging to bid, should have prior experience with similar collaborative delivery models, so progressive design build. So because of the legislation, those other projects they've worked on would have had similar policies.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the only other question is the enforcement mechanism. So obviously when they are putting in the paperwork, they're basically signing off that they have no conflicts, or they're identifying conflicts up front, right? I think that's how I read this. But the district is obligated to monitor that as well, right? Once they are potentially on board. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so proposers must submit ongoing disclosures of any potential conflict of interest. And the district plans to enforce that by continuous monitoring of the contract.
Okay. And obviously, general manager has a certain amount of authority But if they appeal, it comes to the board.
Yeah, so they must, they must submit all their documentation for the general manager to review and determine whether there's a conflict of interest. If the proposer doesn't agree with the general manager's decision, then they can appeal. They would have to submit like a formal letter, and then it would be reviewed at the next regularly scheduled board meeting for the board to make a decision, and then the board's.
Very good. And then the project itself is going through the E&O committee. And can you tell us what's the time frame on project and or going out to bid?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first part of the project, we're bringing on board an owner's advisor. That's partially their role, will be partially to help us with the progressive design build, the management of progressive design build,
Right.
but also to help us with the technical aspects of the project. That RFP is currently out for bid at the minute, but it closes today. So we'd be looking to bring that back for the E&O committee and then the board next month for award of the contract. And then the actual design builder portion of that, the OA will be helping us with the procurement documentation. So assuming that all goes well, we're hoping to put the design builder portion of that out for bid in probably September. Is what we're currently thinking. Obviously, there's still a lot of documentation to write and a lot of work to put in for that point. But yeah.
Very good. Okay. I have no other questions. I don't think.
No other, just saying that, we have two board members who both have lots of experience in this, and I'd just like to hear their comments before we go forward.
By all means. So with that, we'll go ahead and just move it forward to the full agenda without a
Without a
recommendation.
recommendation. Thank you.
And, but it does seem like we've got everything in place, really in anticipation of what we need to do, and what staff is looking to embark upon. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I could add just one thing, our legal counsel will be here, of course, at the board meeting and can answer any questions that you have regarding the legal process and requirements.
perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And thanks for jumping in on that. Let's see. Move forward to our information calendar, item 6A, which is our quarterly debt report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item will be presented by Wendy Nakamura, our Chief Financial Officer, and does begin on packet page 142.
Thank you, EJ. As required by West Basin debt management policy, staff is required to submitting a quarterly debt report to the board. Please turn to page 144. As you can see on page 44, West Basin only have 5 different type of debt outstanding as of this point. The first one is the 30 million line of credit. Right now, we just discussed it. Currently, we have a 0 outstanding balance. And then as of March 31st, 2024, our total outstanding principal is $178 million. And then for this current fiscal year, our annual principal and interest payment will be $21 million. So that's conclude the report. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Wendy. So we're on page what now? 145? Are we covered?
Yeah, we finished page 146.
Oh, you've already passed all of this.
Yeah. Yeah, those are just the definitions.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Oh, so we're done with that whole item. Great. It's a one pager basically. All right, thank you. Next will be 6B as in boy, fiscal year 23-24 third quarter financial review.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this presentation will be provided both by Wendy Nakamura as well as Allison Tong, and it does begin on packet page 147.
Every quarter, staff will providing the board with a financial overview and then budget and our actual reports. So for the financial overview for the third quarter of this fiscal year, is going to be a handout right now in front of you. So as you can see from your handout, we have the actual data for from July 1 to March 31st, 2024. And then we also have our current year projection in the second column. And then the third one will be our annual budget. And then with the last column is the variance. So as you can see, the net revenue sort of at the bottom of the page, right? So we budgeted the net revenue for this current fiscal year is $31 million. However, because the potable water sales, we originally budgeted at 97,000 acre feet. And then the current projection probably is only going to be 82,000 acre feet. So we're like 15,000 acre feet short of the potable water sales. As you all know, we are charging $275 per acre feet based on each acre feet of potable water we sell. So if you're using, about 14,000, 15,000 acre feet, multiply the $275. That's why we're kind of short between $3.9 million to $4 million than the budget here with our net revenue. So because of that, our annual budget, we budget that coverage as 1.49. So the current projection is going to be 1.3. I think we had, pretty much in the past months, when we're doing the budget presentation, we have providing exactly the same information to the board. We keep on saying, our debt coverage is getting lower and lower each single year, right? Which is the goal is to improving our revenue and reduce the cost. So if you don't have any question on this handout, I'm going to turn to my colleague Allison to read on package page 150.
Any questions on that handout?
No, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm starting at packet page 150, which is for the recycling operations. It is a year-to-date through March 2024. Our benchmark for the budget as of March was $42,001,606. However, our actual is a little bit lower at $40,496,032. As you can see, our big variance there is really our chemicals because we aren't selling as much, so we are having some cost savings there. I do also want to point out our facility maintenance was slightly higher. I think we've mentioned in the previous committee meetings that we have worked with our counterpart to really improve our solids handling system. And so we could see that there was some additional facility maintenance costs, but that also does help contribute to the chemical reduction overall. So those are two things I do want to highlight there, but I can pause here before I go on to the other items.
Sure. So any questions on this one?
No, thank you.
Obviously, we budgeted chemicals considerably higher than what we're coming in at, as you mentioned.
Yeah, we definitely did budget higher because we thought we were going to be able to produce a little bit more, but due to demand dropping, we are producing less. We don't need that much.
Very good. Okay.
So the next few ones, I'm just going to read all of the budgets and the actuals, and I can pause at the end for additional questions.
Right.
So packet page 151 is for water policy and resource development. Here you see that the benchmark budget for as of March was $994,580. And our actuals were higher at 1,394,278. Here you'll see that we actually have an increase higher than our overall budget, which is really attributes to our labor. This current fiscal year, we do have a lot of staff working more on resource development, finding more grants. And so we've had them charge their time here versus any capital projects because they can't really benefit those projects until they actually move forward. So that's why you see our labor, direct labor is a lot higher than the budget. And when we have higher direct labor, our indirect labor and benefit allocation goes along with that. On packet page 152, it will be our public information and education program. The benchmark budget was 3.6 million and our actuals were about 2.8. So we didn't have as much advertising as we expected. Some of our programs are very standard and they just already have a lot of engagement already. So we were able to have some cost reduction there and savings. And we also had a lot of, we're trying to be more conscientious of how we spend our program expenses, our giveaways. And so we're trying to find better giveaways to give out. And we're trying to get rid of all of our existing inventory. So hence we're not spending as much in the current year. Packet page 153, you'll see our water use efficiency program, also known as our conservation program. Our benchmark for March was about 2.3 million and our actuals are about 1.3. Some of these programs are kind of stagnant. They're not ran all year long. And when we do our benchmarks, we kind of just take the overall annual budget and divide it by 12. But some programs don't run until a certain point. And I think you've heard us mention in our budget presentations of the grass removal program, we were told early on that we were going to have had additional outstanding applications. Turns out that may not come this current fiscal year, so that's why we don't see the actuals matching the budget. And also, you see some of the labor probably not as high as our budget because we did have a vacancy for about 7 months. On your packet page 154, you'll see our technical planning. Our year-to-date benchmark as of March was about 3.9 and our actuals were about 622,000. This is mainly attributes to our consultant costs. We did have originally a lot of projects that we were going to bring forward, but they are temporarily on hold for this current. And then we have the last program, which starts on your packet page 155, which is our Purveyor Water Quality Monitoring Program. Our budget was about 45,000 for the benchmark of March, and our actual is about 9,000. This is really due to delayed billing, and this is a program that has been ran for a long time now, and so actually staff don't really monitor it as much as we have. Let's see, packet page 156 is our overall overhead, district overhead. For the benchmark of March, the budget was about 3.2 million and our actuals were about 2.4. And I think you've heard DJ mention in all of our budget workshops that we're trying to be a lot more cost effective overall this current fiscal year. So this is a true reflection of overall the district really trying to minimize our costs. And the last that I would go over is packet page 157, which lists our CIP totals. You'll see all of our projects here and our actuals and our annual budget. As you know, our total annual budget was about 38 million, and we so far have spent about 8 million, 8.2 million. Pause for any questions.
Questions? William,
No, thank you.
here. Let me just ask. Well, let me ask on this one we're currently on, or the one just before this one, I'm sorry, page 156. Because I do see, and you mentioned it, you all have really been sharpening your pencils. I think it looks like overall we're doing pretty well this year, coming in under what we budgeted. And so I definitely applaud the staff. just out of curiosity on this particular one, the overhead memberships, that one did go up, but I don't know what these memberships entail.
These are all the district memberships such as Aqua, AWWA. In this current fiscal year, we did see a higher increase overall for our membership dues, a lot higher than we have in the past. For most of the years, our budget has been stagnant because the fees have been pretty much similar,
Right?
but they have definitely gone up fiscal year and we do expect to go up again in the next.
Excuse me. Okay. So some of the organizations, they raised their rate, their dues. Okay. And so we're absorbing that. But that's also in the current budget, we're talking about whatever these numbers are now up to going forward, I'm assuming, like.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. I would point out, just today I received the invoice for the California Municipal Utilities Association. And I saw that there was not a significant, but the cost of membership was actually exceeded what we've already proposed in the budget. Again, we don't always know, some of the organizations were far more involved, but we don't always know what they're going to do with their membership dues. And so when the boards do pass through increases in the memberships, of course, we get those throughout the year.
And unfortunately, a lot of them don't give us a heads up that they're adjusting, but they haven't, most of them haven't for quite some time, huh? I mean, they've been pretty stagnant.
The cheap commerce has been more stagnant, but the larger organizations do fluctuate.
Okay, and not that I'm knocking any of them. I mean, the costs are going up on everything, so I get it. People have got to raise their rates. Only other question, and I suppose it's sort of answered this because this is the overall overhead, right, allocation, because each of the prior departments you had overhead allocation, but that's what this is.
So you see in the bottom, it shows you how we allocate to each program, but overall the top is really breaking down each individual cost.
Gotcha. Okay, well, back to what I said earlier, I'm even looking at this. I think, the staff has done a good job this year to stay within the numbers and knowing too that we've had lower water sales. And so, I personally think you did a great job there. Okay, let's go ahead to the next portion.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this brings us to our last of our information calendar items. It is item 6C. It's the monthly financial reports. And for this presentation, we have Sandra Ruiz, our accountant two.
Good afternoon, members of the committee and board. I am here to present agenda number 6C, the monthly financial report. As required by West Basin Administrative Code, staff is required to submit various financial reports to the board to keep them appraised of financial condition and future needs of the district. With that, we'll begin on packet page 160, demands list, item 6CA. This is the demand list for the period ending April 30th, 2024. This report concludes on packet page 166. Where you see total disbursements for the month were $18.4 million. On the same packet page 166, you will see the Metropolitan Water District bill was 8.9. The second biggest expense for the month was the Veolia water bill, which is also listed on the same page, which was $5.4 million. Those two disbursements combined made up approximately 80% of the total disbursements for the month. I just wanted to note that the Veolia bill is for October, December, and January. There was some delay in billing. We had our operations review the invoices, and then we were waiting for Veolia's comments. So it wasn't something necessarily on our side, but we just wanted to make that note. Other than that, I don't have any other extraordinary expenses or items. So I will pause now if you have any questions.
Questions?
Well, thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, the next item is on packet page 168, and that is the West Basin Cash and Investment Report, again, for the period ending April 30th, 2024. You will see total market value at $68.7 million. On the right, there is a pie chart where you would see the investment pool making up 32.6% of the total portfolio, which would be California class. Second would be the U.S. Treasuries at 20.4. On packet page 169 is the credit quality distribution. You will see that 40% of the investments are invested in AAA investments. The next page, packet page 170, is the maturity distribution bar graph. West Basin's portfolio continues to be very liquid. And with that, that concludes that item. Ask for any questions?
Question.
No, thank you.
Next item, packet page 171, is the monthly water sales. You will see on the top part for imported retail for the month of April, it was 5,923 acre feet. As Wendy mentioned in her presentation, estimated and year to date is to be at 82,000 overall. The second part is the imported barrier. That's 1,314 acre feet. Next packet page 172 is the recycled water, and that is 1,696.09 acre feet for the month of April. Looking at the table below, you will see that the breakdown for the recycled water was barrier at 199, refineries at 1251, and disinfected tissue at 159. That I will pause if there are any questions.
I'm just looking.
No, thank you.
1 second.
Sure.
Just out of curiosity, are our refinery partners holding stable on production and water use, or have they gone up or down?
They should be holding stable. However, we have had issues related to both Marathon and Torrance Refinery of late. And then, of course, earlier in the year, a couple of issues related to Chevron and, of course, our ECL facility. I would explain that some of the reductions as far as service to our refineries.
But I'm sorry, but why don't you explain that a little further? I mean, are they're producing the same amount relative to normal in their operations,
Correct.
whether we're selling certain types of water to them?
If I may,
Go ahead.
this is
Susanna.
Susanna, sorry. For the month of April, Chevron Nitrify, Chevron was going through a major turnaround on the Nitrify system, the cooling tower system. This would have been the time that we would have been performing that Nitrify tank, the product tank project. And so we anticipated this during this time that they will have a reduction in their demand. And as far as what EJ was mentioning, we did have a couple more follow-up actions at the Torrance plant, so which also did require a reduction in productions. And for the Nitrify, for the Torrance, we had a communication issue in April, and that didn't capture some of the flow. So we are rectifying that with the refinery in the month of May. So that have affected some of the numbers there at Torrance. And in toward the end of April, we did have an issue with at JMM, which did require us to reduce in production there as well. So.
Okay,
Thank you, Susanna.
You're welcome.
gotcha. And one last question or comment, because we talked about it a little bit at the budget workshop, but how we continue to ask our recycled water customers, especially for the outdoor irrigation, to utilize that even when, let's say it's a hot summer or something like that. We're hoping that they're going to keep watering, doing outdoor irrigation and such, because this is water that they don't have a restriction on. It's just putting you on the spot a little, EJ, but have you all started to think about that? So you can come back to the board at some point, maybe in the PI committee, to let us know what you're thinking about for how we outreach to those customers.
Happy to do that. It's worth noting that our operations team and our customer development, customer relations have done an excellent job, I think, of outreaching to them to let them know, especially when we're in restrictions and what they're allowed to do, what they're not able to do. But when it comes to recycled water, there are several benefits as far as the restrictions go and daytime or excuse me, the number of days that you're able to irrigate. So there are a lot of benefits to utilizing recycling. We're always trying to communicate that. But we will bring that back to the Public Information Education Committee. Maybe we'll touch on it. We'll present on it next month. So we just had our meeting last week.
Okay, and then, I don't know, that'd just be like an information item, or how do you?
Yeah, we can talk about
Something like that.
different opportunities.
I'd like to hear what you all are thinking, just to continue to keep people understanding they can utilize that water, right, rather than just, slow down after irrigation. And I mean, I totally get the optics, but on the other hand, they have this opportunity to water, and the potable might not be as desirable, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd like the staff to continue looking at that. Okay, let's move on to the last portion, which I think is the conference and travel expenses.
And that begins on packet page 173, item 6CD. This is the director's conference and travel expense through April 2024. And then the final item on packet page 174, item 6DE, is the executive management and staff travel expenses for April 2024. So with that, that concludes the monthly financial report.
Any questions?
Well, thank you.
Have any questions either? Done pretty well and all that there. Let's see, so closed session, we have no closed session today.
Correct.
Director comments or future agenda items. Who wants to go first? Director, I'll let Director Deere.
What's the current status of this property in terms of what district it is actually in?
So my property advisor, I don't know if he's out there or not, just notified me that, well, we've had a couple of conversations, that it does appear as though this property in whole is in the Central Basin Municipal Water District. However, the materials that he's provided me state that the location of our meetings are able to be held at this location because our principal office of the legislative body is located here. So we are okay to hold our meetings here, but this building itself is one street over from the West Basin Municipal Water District.
We need to ask for a boundary adjustment. Do you guys agree?
I agree, but I thought it had been done.
Being discovered, and it takes a long time. Bureaucracies to do it.
Okay.
So with that, is that something that,
That's something that we can look at doing. I think Central Basin Municipal Water District did contact us approximately 2.5 years ago, identifying several portions of Carson that at the time they wanted to look at potentially bringing back into the West Basin service area. I think then the discussions kind of went in another direction. And so we put that discussion on hold. So as far as this building goes, if you look at the boundary, it cuts straight down this road right here. So there are opportunities to carve this building out or carve potentially even the rest of the portions of Carson.
Originally, this building was in West Basin, but it was changed so Central Basin could also meet here. Although my understanding was it was like part of the property, a piece of the property was in each district.
yeah.
Apparently that isn't so. Now we're out of our district. It's just not the way we're supposed to be operating.
No.
Is that a
All
lap?
the money back that you got.
Yeah, really. Is that a LAPCO thing at some point?
Ultimately, I think it would be yes.
Shouldn't have any problem there.
So I guess because Director Deere has asked, I mean, EJ, so somehow you start moving that through our process
Yes.
officially?
What I'm doing is I'm forwarding this on to legal counsel. As Director Deere mentioned, it should not be a problem. It's just something that has been overlooked.
Understood. Okay, so let's just get that moving without delay. How about that? Any other comments, Director Deere?
Fine.
Great, Director Williams.
Well, thank you.
And none of the other directors ever joined us, correct? Okay. I don't think I have any other questions or new items. I think this is actually a good thorough report. Thank you very much. And we are to believe that we're already almost through this month as well. So what's our board meeting is next Wednesday, right? So we're doing a special board, if you will, right? It's not our usual.
That's correct. Due to the holiday, it's been moved to Wednesday.
Right. So Memorial Day is Monday, so we're closed Monday. And we're not doing Tuesday, so we're gonna do Wednesday. Okay, got it. All right, I don't have anything else that says here. Our next scheduled meeting will be on June 18th of 2024. And with that, we're adjourned.
Well.
More than an hour.